Hello, Brett. Welcome to the Recovering Entrepreneur Show. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Bobbie?
Good. Thank you for joining me. This is a very special episode because it's March, and March is important, evidently, as you just reminded me before we get on the call. I'll let you have the glory for that. But more importantly, it's our 4-year anniversary date, which is why I'm excited about this one of gamble-free time. So, since you are, I honestly don't believe I would be an entrepreneur if I never met you, because did not have the balls. So by seeing what you and your wife had both done independently, and now what you're doing together, kind of inspired me to be brave. It wasn't just, oh, Brett can do it, so I can do it, but it took some of the fear out of it. So we're not going to talk about that, but I know I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your help. So I'm going to have you start by telling a little about yourself, because they don't know you yet.
Well, thanks. And that was a big compliment, by the way, because you're a very driven person. So I am an executive director of a company. We're a small clinic called Seed, and we focus on gambling addiction and the mental health aspect surrounding gambling addiction. Really trying to get to the root of the problem. Where we stand, the effects it has on our brain, similarities with chemical and substance abuse. And we do that in many facets. Currently we're running seeing individual clients, and as well as doing a group program as well. And sort of on a small time scale, I would say, meeting essentially 6 hours a week. We have 2 3-hour groups per week. And our goal is my biggest goal when I first started was to, I would say, tackle the world, which was my biggest mistake. And we've had a lot of growing pains. And what I've really learned from this and being around people who are kind of in the gambling world is I need to bring about awareness before I can do anything else. Let's just assume that everyone believes that behavioral and process addictions are addictions, and that people don't have a choice. And that has been what I found to be our biggest problem and our biggest hurdle to jump over is people still think it's a choice. People still think, well, just stop gambling. Just stop drinking. It's interesting to me.
You press the stop button?
Yeah. I mean, that would have been amazing for me. If I would have known that a long time ago, we probably wouldn't be in this situation. But on the flip side, I'm grateful that I'm in this situation and that I've been able to come through the other side and see the bigger picture. And so that's what we're working on, is taking small steps of bringing awareness. And obviously with March being Problem Gambling Awareness Month, this is probably the best time to start. And we're doing that, contacting and meeting locally with primary care providers, mental health facilities, EAP facilities. We've got a lot of these going and giving presentations and just getting the awareness out there. I kind of, at first I thought, it's going to be easy we'll raise money, we'll do this, and we'll just get the ball rolling because everybody cares. And unfortunately, it's just not the case. And I think it's bringing the awareness. And what we're finding too is that a lot more people are starting to bring to light in their own mind that, I see my brother doing that a lot, or I see my grandmother doing that a lot. And it's fascinating. It's sad also on the flip side, but it's that awareness part. And as you know very well, you worked very hard at bringing the awareness for gambling and gambling disorder. So that's where we've started and where we're attempting to bridge the gap, at least locally, for us.
That makes sense. Start locally and then you can go worldwide or something.
Some people like to go worldwide.
So one of the reasons I have on the other show, I talk about my like ultimate dream. Like there's a whole bunch of steps to my dream, but one of the end goals is also inspired by you. I want to get enough awareness, power, influence, money, whatever's needed, but I want to get in a position where I can impact laws across different states because we're inconsistent. So you're in Wisconsin, and the part that really pissed me off was I was in Kansas at the time, and I got to go to treatment for free, and you had to pay out of pocket. So can you talk a little bit about what you know about Wisconsin and the differences, what the landscape around the inconsistency looks like that you know about?
I could probably start with Minnesota, seeing as that's where I did end up going to treatment since there's a lack of inpatient facilities throughout the United States. That's one state I know that reimburses the patients or the clients per se for their stay. Wisconsin has zero of that. So we have zero funding. Statewide, there's been, to my knowledge, there's been no even hint of it put forward to, the powers that be. There's certain office, the governor's office, even local, in the attempt to try to get funding for it. So it becomes a challenge. And I can only speak for the state of Wisconsin when I go, one of the gamblers' biggest problems is lack of money. As you probably know, we end up to the point where, we typically owe a lot of money. We get into some significant debt. So the hard part then, besides the fact of the shortage of treatment, is we can't afford it. How can we afford this? Often $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 to seek treatment when we are extremely in debt. So that is something we've also been working on. There's a great opportunity this month, and there was earlier that to send proclamations. You can go on to the National Council of Problem Gambling's website, and it's actually ncpgambling.org/PGAM, and they have a proclamation sheet that you can fill out and send directly to your governor. You can send to local people, any civic officer you feel would want this awareness. And the goal is to get our local governments and our local and state governments to just bring the awareness. So this proclamation is written already. You fill in kind of your information. We do it as seed. And you send these to local governors, senators, and try to get them to proclaim these, read these. And so that's another good opportunity for anyone. 321, no kidding. And all those amazing things out there that we can bring the awareness. Doesn't necessarily mean people are going to read these proclamations, but until we make the effort and push forward to do them.
Thank you. I didn't know about that. I should have known about that, but I can put the links in all the places that we put links, I guess, and ask anybody for help on that, because the awareness is the key.